These are my 3 core principles for mixing, and if you understand them, then you should understand at a base level how to mix a song. Ultimately, what mixing is all about is controlling what the listener hears. In a mix, there'll be many different instruments all competing for the listener's ear, and it's your job to control which ones they hear at which times. And here are 3 of the most important ways that you can do this. The first and perhaps most obvious is volume. If you want an instrument to be heard more than another instrument, then you need to make that louder than that other instrument. Same thing if you want an instrument to be a little bit further back in your mix, a little bit less perceivable, you need to make that instrument a lower volume. The second method is through EQ. Sometimes, and this happens a lot with lead frequencies or mid frequencies, they'll sit in the same frequency band. And the way that you can separate them from each other is by doing little EQ boosts or cuts. So you might know that one instrument sits naturally at about 1K, and there's another instrument that sits in a similar kind of range. And if one's more important than the other, you might take the less important one and you might just cut away where the more important one plays. So if the more important one's at 1K, you might want to cut away at 1K from the other instrument, which will make that other instrument less important to the listener's ears. The third way to separate out the instruments is through panning. If you've got 2 instruments that sit in similar frequency ranges, you might push one to the left side and one to the right side. Not necessarily all the way to the left or all the way to the right, but you might just separate them so that when somebody's listening to the song, they're hearing that instrument maybe more in the right ear and the other instrument maybe more in the left ear, something like that. So with panning in general, elements that are closer to the center will be louder because they appear in both the left and right channels more so than elements that appear further towards the left or further towards the right as they appear in the other channel less so or not at all. There are many other ways to separate instruments when you're mixing, but those are the 3 I think are the most important to understand. And if you understand those, you're on your way to being able to mix a song really well. So that's it for this tip. If you like it, subscribe, keep making music, and I'll see you next time.
Beast mode.